Howdy folks, Bairdos here to talk to you about The Division 2. This weekend, and a couple of days before that, saw the private beta going live, which I was part of, and played some of it with Hannon, as you'll see from the footage in the background. I didn't play everything in the beta, so take my opinions however you will. I'll get to why I didn't play the whole lot in a bit, but my opinions are of someone that played all of the main game of the first one and loved the hell out of the survival expansion. So here's my pros and cons of it. Yeah, I just feel I should share. So pros wise, the gear sets that you got at the end of the first one that really added something. It made builds an option. Those are in the game from the get-go, so it means there's more tactical choice rather than just that's got more armor or that's got more skill power. Brr. You get bonuses the more pieces of one brand that you equip. So you find the brand with perks that you like, you go for 3 pieces of that brand and you get all the perks. It's nice. Obviously you will run into dilemmas if you don't find upgraded pieces of that brand, but dilemmas are good in these games. You don't just want to have to go, it's better equip it, it's better equip it, it's better equip it. There shouldn't always be a simple choice. As well as that, there's more than one area that gets improved, not just your base of operations. In the beta, you saw one of, it was a theatre, was what it was called. It's another little sort of outpost where people are living, so it's not just little pockets of people, there is actual settlements that seem to have formed, which is nice to see. But through quests and missions that you do for these places instead of just the little safe rooms, you improve the area and you did sizable visual changes that you see, so that was nice to see as well. I did like that. The quests that improve them, there's fetch quests that they've introduced, which aren't just get me some of this, some of that, some of this. It's specific equipment piece, some materials, and you've got, or at least in the beta, it was do one of the random event things. So yeah, those were a nice addition as well. I like variety and things to do. The first one did not have a whole lot of it. Halfway you were doing the same thing every single area. So variety here, very, very much a positive. There was also variety in the enemies that you were seeing in the 4 hours I played. A lot more variety than I remember seeing in the first one. First one you were like, oh it's one of those guys, oh it's one of those guys, oh it's one of those guys, oh it's one of those guys. That was about it. I'm pretty sure there was a bit more variety from what we saw. So it was nice to see. There was also a little bit more of a varied AI sort of sense. I was flanked quite a few times properly, not just by chance. So it's always nice to see. Annoying, but nice to see. And the random events that I spoke about earlier on, those are also nice as well. Just additions to things that you're going to run into, so you're not just going, right, I could fast travel there or I'll just run there and you see nothing on the way. And that should be the case some of the time, but not all of the time. So that was good to see. Right, cons wise, I can't honestly say I felt like I was playing a whole new entry in the series. Felt like this could have been achieved with an expansion. It looked fairly nice, but yeah, I honestly felt like it could have just been achieved by an expansion. The first one, with us going further into New York. Yeah. It didn't feel enough different. The White House honestly felt really disappointing. Hannon voiced the same opinion. Kind of hoped it was going to be something a little bit different than it was. Don't know what we were hoping for, but just a little bit more to it. And it was just the usual, oh, you've got 2 vendors, oh, you've got someone that you can upgrade stuff through, oh, and matchmaking PvP. There was clan headquarters, I think it was called, that was in there. That could be interesting. But then Hannon brought up a point of it would be nice to have an area that you could modify that's just your own. And I reminded him that there's a certain free-to-play game called Warframe out there where you can do exactly that. And that's been out for how long? But yeah, other cons were weapons felt a lot weaker than I personally feel they should have been. If you're using a hunting rifle, for grunts I reckon 2 headshots should probably do the business. If they're the same level or lower than you, and nope. 4, 5, I felt like I was playing Resident Evil. Ridiculous. But aye, weapons could use a little bit of a damage buff in general, I reckon, because it wasn't just the rifles, there was quite a lot of sponginess. I know it's a game where you're going to run into sponginess, but not grunts. Grunts should just be dropping to the floor fairly quickly. There was another thing I ran into pretty quickly, and that was I had inadvertently walked into the starting area for the Liberate the White House mission before I was done exploring the preceding area, and discovered that there's predefined areas for the mission, so when I stepped outside of them I promptly got reloaded right back to the beginning of it. I didn't lose anything, but it's still really annoying having to wait. I don't honestly know how long I waited reloading back to the start, because they had set predefined areas for this is the area you need to be in for this mission. I shouldn't really be forced to ignore something I might have seen just because it doesn't fit in said predefined mission boundaries. That's... Don't you restrict me? No! It's my game, I'll do what I want. And the age-old annoyance of mine. Doors that are blocked off by darkness. If you don't want me going through a door that enemies have came through, just have it shut behind them. Simple as that. Do not have doors open that you can't walk through because there's an invisible wall into darkness. That's annoying. I hate that. It's almost as annoying as invisible walls. Right, so back to the reason I stopped wanting to play. I'll let you hear exactly why right now. Yeah, audio feelings. Started bad, but intermittent. They got atrocious. My immersion was properly jacked in the third time it happened. So when I lost my gun audio, movement audio for about an hour at the end, it didn't come back. It was, my immersion was as gone as the sound was. Christ, if you've got issues like that, give me tinnitus. Just give me a ringing in my ears if you've got an issue. But don't give me that. So I'm really hoping that's just a beta bug and not something that's going to be in the whole game, because that's going to kill it for quite a few people. Yeah. I don't think it was throwing hand in quite as much as me, but he described it as feeling like he was underwater. I could see where he was coming from with that, but even underwater, you would still be hearing muffled gunshots. You could, as you can hear, you're hearing nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, as a player that bought the First Division's Gold Edition, after loving the beta and being burned by not having any such love for the finished product until Survival came out, I did go into this beta a bit more cautious. As it stands, I probably won't be buying this year one, let alone day one. Do not feeling like I'll put that much time into it to warrant the still likely 30 quid price tag. Obviously day one, yeah, I've not even looked at those prices, but I'm not interested day one at all. To those that have never played the Division though, I can see potential in this for them. The first game, as long as you were playing with a buddy, had its moments, and as long as you don't buy the Gold Edition and you play it as soon as you buy it, you're going to get your money's worth, I reckon. But yeah, two of the DLCs I had no interest in. Survival was worth being a game in its own. That was might still be my favourite battle royale sort of thing, but that's just because there's an actual objective that's not just go and kill everyone. Not for long. Yeah, survival mode, if they find a way to, we were really hoping that we're going to integrate it somehow into the main game of this, but when they release whatever survival mode expansion they're gonna for this one, because they can't not, it really did kind of save this, save the first one, I'm pretty sure, at least in my opinion. That'll be worth getting if they do release it. But yeah, as long as there's a lot less repetition and they build on the pros, then it could be a pretty good cover-based shooter. So yeah, that's my opinions of what I played of the beta. Didn't touch the Dark Zone because the Dark Zone in the main game of the Division was nothing like the beta, nothing like the Dark Zone of the beta for the first game. So yeah, it's not really something you can get a proper grasp for until you're in the main game, I reckon. And I've no interest in the PvP of it. The connections were never the most stable. Rubber banding and all that, and that's my fairly always solid connections, so yeah. Let me know what you guys have thought about it if you have played it in the comments, and let me know what you thought of this just random thoughts on what I've played, because I'm looking to do more of these. I will kind of try and focus my mind on them, but this might just get back into the talking out loud, or thinking out loud, sorry, mindset. Anyway, been Bairdos. If you're new around here, subscribe, stick around. You take it easy, have a good day. Adios.